Hoping I can. I wish I could, Javier. I really wish I could. Because no real explanation was given other than they said he broke a rule. And of course, Rory agrees. Man with such integrity. What, he cheated on his fiance with a staffer and then cheated on her with a on-air talent. But he can tell us what's right and wrong in this world and who's a good person and who's a bad person. He's a joke.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Monday. Hope you had a good weekend as the Open Championship and the World Cup both wrap up. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. How was your weekend, Mark?
It was good. It was good. You know, did a lot of cooking, did a lot of watching the Open in the morning. Watched both World Cup games. Two teams didn't care and couldn't score enough. The other one was, if enough people watched it, I would ask I know the answer would be the soccer match. But what was more boring, the past Super Bowl or that championship soccer match? And you can tell me all you want about the defensive exhibition that Spain put on. Argentina didn't have a shot on goal.
For 110 minutes.
I'm sorry. They didn't have a shot attempt. A shot on goal would be pressing the issue. Because in soccer, and we watch Spain miss some shots wide and have a lot of opportunities, Argentina didn't get a shot off for 110 minutes.
Right.
And then the shot they got, was that the dribbler header that a 12U girl could have stopped, or was that one of the shots that went wide?
I think their first shot on goal was Messi's rainbow that he tried to tuck into the top far corner.
Okay, that was actually he was attempting to pass that. It went on net. That was that's the centering pass in hockey that you miss your target by 4 feet and it goes on goal, and the goalie's got to kick it off to the corner because it's got a little more juice than you thought. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, I remember that one.
Right. It technically counted as a shot on goal, even though it didn't count as a save. Right.
There you go.
Which is different from hockey, okay, because in order for it to be a shot on goal, the goalie had to make a save. If the goalie didn't make a save, it would have been a goal. That's a shot on goal in hockey.
I can't say I'm overly surprised by the final. I mean, I was waiting for Argentina to do what they've been doing throughout the tournament, and that's pull the rabbit out of the hat. But most people said that follow the sport that Spain-France was the de facto final, and it was, because that was as one-sided of a game as you're going to see for 1-0. I mean, it was boring. It was. Sorry, I put a lot of time into this tournament. I'm not surprised by what happened yesterday, but I was hoping for more, I guess, is the way I look at it, David. I was hoping for more. Wasn't expecting more, was hoping for more.
Right back at you. But Spain was, well, they were the best team. I mean, they played two of the top 3 teams in the world in the last 2 matches, and they won by a combined 3-0. So they earned it. They're dreadfully boring. Dreadfully. So it is what it is. So fortunately, we don't have to watch Spain in a World Cup for another 4 years.
And we'll do a soccer wrap up today, but I will do my best to fight with my co-host to not bring this sport up again for at least 3 years and 11 months. Unless Messi does something, when he retires, whenever that happens, I will tell you this much. Here would be an interesting poll question. And it stinks because I think if they would have won, the answer would have even been greater. But does this World Cup, for those of you that were like me, and I think David to a certain extent, David's followed the sport maybe longer than I have, more seriously than I have. I've just kind of made fun of it most of the time. But I was all in this tournament. I was. And Messi was nothing short of amazing. I could see myself spending money and dragging my daughter across the state to see an Inter Miami game just to see that man play one time. And I would have never said that in June. Really and truly. And he was the GOAT in June. I knew that. But having watched this tournament and watched him, I would now drive across the coast to see Messi play. I would. I'd go to an Inter Miami game. I know what level of soccer it is. Hell, that might make it more fun. Because to see him toy with bad players would be, the hockey strike years ago, and a bunch of players jumped down into the league that I had worked in, the IHL. It would be like going to see a really good player playing with the Detroit Vipers. So they were the team that spent all the money and got all the NHL players, David. That's why.
No.
That's why I went Vipers. In fact, I think they wrote an article on the Vipers in SI that really honked off the NHL and pretty much ended up being the demise of that league, but neither here nor there.
So I'm with you, by the way. That sounds like a good idea. And finally, I don't know if people stayed with it long enough, but the match is over and there's quite a few interviews that are done. And Fox's foursome on the set gives their opinion twice. And then, Mark, there was an MLS ad. Now, you had to pay very close attention.
How about that?
And if you didn't know some of the teams and some of the players in the MLS, you wouldn't have known it was an MLS ad. But their ad was basically, hey, thanks for the 5 weeks of entertainment. We'll take it from here. Okay, it's about time. But finally, the MLS did some promotion.
Well, the network that has them doesn't have a lot of money, so you can't really blame them, David.
Right, Apple TV, and I guess there are a few games that are on Fox. Okay, I thought Apple TV had exclusive. They have the overwhelming majority of games, but I guess Fox and FS1 have a few for those that are interested.
So that's over. And the thing I'd been looking forward to, and I've been talking about it for a couple of weeks, man, this second half of baseball is going to be fascinating. Oh, boy.
Well, it was fascinating, all right, for the Rays and Marlins, if you like losing streaks.
And they're both on one. Marlins had lost a few before the break started. They continue right where they left off. The Rays had lost one before they started. They continued on. And they blew a couple games too. They had the opportunity to split a 4-game series. They were given the opportunity. But the red-hot Red Sox could not be denied. They sweep. They're now above 500, which you know what that makes you. That makes you a wild card team.
Certainly in the American League.
And now the Red Sox hold down the final spot in the playoffs. Hell, the Orioles, they've won a bunch in a row. They're only 2 back from a wild card. The Guardians and White Sox are battling for that division, and the loser of that division better hold on to their shorts because they've got 2 AL East teams coming at them. Not to mention the Twins and a few teams in the AL West. So the second half of the baseball season, let both Florida teams know right off the get-go, if you want to be in this, you need to get on the phone and start working on getting better, because what you have currently isn't good enough. One team played what has been one of the 2 best teams in the National League for the past 3 years. They were swept. That's the Brewers, by the way. They had the best record in baseball last year. The other team played the hottest team in baseball. And the hottest team in baseball, the Boston Red Sox, stayed the hottest team in baseball. They were sellers 3 weeks ago. I mean, obvious sellers, David.
Mark, might have been 2 weeks ago. I mean, seriously. I mean, they've won 13 in a row, and they had 4 days off. And otherwise, they played every day, with the exception of one day when they had a doubleheader. So it's basically been 2 weeks, and they've gone 13-0 and went from 11 below 500 to 2 above. And now they're a playoff team if the season ended today. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it? And the other thing, Mark, is, I took the Red Sox in the over. You want to talk about a bet that I had already written off. I mean, come on. It's July 4th. They're 11 under 500. I think their over-under was like 88. And now that bet's still in play. That's nuts.
So the trade deadline is August the 3rd. And
2 weeks today.
I still contest, David, that it's going to have to be a trade deadline that works for both teams in a lot of cases. Because what we said on Friday still applies. There are only 3 teams out of it in the American League and 4 in the National League, and that's including the Reds, who are 6 back. So it will be fascinating to me over the next 2 weeks how this all shakes out, who ends up being on the block, what team makes a trade that maybe we didn't see coming. But that's for another day. Miller and Moulton will wrap up the World Cup. JP Dellacamera will join us at 8, and we will go to the hottest city in Major League Baseball, Boston. Tim McKone from the Sports Hub will join us at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. The starting 5 is 25 minutes away. We'll come up with a poll question. The Pelican Roofing of Florida text line wide open for your comments on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. Sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. The mask wasn't working for me, and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do. They have such simple alternatives with greater success than the mask. Visit sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. And if you are like me and your CPAP machine isn't working for you, it's time for a change. Call 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Michael, that's an interesting way to look at the Yankees-Dodgers series. I mean, the Dodgers won the series. And don't use the All-Star game to make your point. Guys are throwing one inning. That has nothing to do with real baseball. I think it's pretty safe to say that right now, the 3, maybe 4 best teams in the game are all in the National League. I have to be honest, I'm not doing a World Cup question, Michael. I've had it with the World Cup. I wouldn't be doing a World Cup interview if David didn't book it. I don't need more piling on. I don't know what you mean by what pattern. Who said pattern, Michael? I'm a little confused. Oh, we lost 2 out of 3. And by the way, they held them to 2 runs or less. You scored 5 runs for the weekend. 5. I don't even know who they play yet, to be honest. Play the Orioles. The Orioles are just as hot as they are. Dodgers, Phillies, good baseball tonight. Good baseball. I understand, Tim, it does, but he's talking like they're this far because they held the Yankees. Tim, slow down. I understand. Their pitching's, I wouldn't worry about the Rodin and Free. I mean, their pitching's terrific. And how can you, Tim, how can you genuinely count on Stanton? Like, seriously. If the Yankees get all of those players back, Tim, I will put them among the best in baseball. But until they're back, I can't. But I mean, to count on Stan, he's played 24 games this year. He played 77 last year, played 114 2 years back in 24. That's the most he's played since 2021. By the way, the years before that, he played 23 and 18 games. I mean, I'm not knocking Judge. When's he coming back, Tim? Can you help me with that? Because nobody knows. No timeline for his return. None. We've said Judge is the best player in the American League. We've said it 50 times on this show in the last 3 weeks. Man, you guys are tough. If I don't say that your team's the best team out there, you get pissed. Right now, just tell me, Tim, take your Yankees pinstripes off and you tell me who the 3 best teams in baseball right now today. Because the Yankees aren't on that list.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Moulton.com, Miller _Moulton on X. Thanks so much for being with us. So, were you watching when the fiasco with DeChambeau played itself out on Friday?
Oh, yeah.
What'd you think?
Well, if they are going to call a 2-shot penalty for Bryson improving. Now, when the shot happened, I didn't think nothing of it. I don't even know if I was watching. But I had it on when all of a sudden it appeared there was going to be a penalty and didn't take it off and went to Golf Channel. First off, to tell you how big this was, USA Network stayed with this for over an hour, I believe, after their coverage of live golf was done. But to Bryson, all these players get behind their shots to see where they're going to hit them. Maybe he needed to walk in front of the ball. By the letter of the law, did he break the rule? I think probably. I do. And if you want to call it for that, that's fine. I do think the amount of infractions PGA players regularly do to improve their lie is tremendous. By the letter of the law, they could call a lot of penalties out there if they wanted to. I think if this were a lot of other players, they wouldn't have called a 2-shot penalty. I think this had as much to do with Bryson as anything else. I think the hypocrisy of some of the players out there, Rory, is pathetic. At least, I'll give Roy credit. At least he included, I don't like Bryson in his comments. I mean, at least he was honest and said, I don't like the guy. I've seen, now, David, maybe there's more. I've seen 2 players that thought it was a penalty. Scheffler even thought it probably was. Went as far to say is that he's not a cheater. I know him for a long time. He's a lot of things. He's not a cheater. Bryson's pushed the envelope with rules now for as long as I can remember, bringing rules officials over in different situations. So did he break the letter of the law? He probably did. I'm stunned they called it. I was talking with 2 golf pros, like club pros, and someone who follows the game and is much better at it than I am. None of them thought it was a penalty on Friday when it was called. I'm stunned by it, David, because basically damn near every guy that went in the fescue then was, that went deep might have done the same thing, because there were other players that people were critical of doing similar things.
I didn't think it was a penalty. I thought there were a few things as to why I came to that conclusion. First off, I do think there was some fascinating editing that went on. There were 11 people that were stomping down the grass in the area where Bryson hit his ball. 11. How many of you saw that video? Because I didn't see it until late Saturday, over 24 hours after he supposedly, and by the way, let's make no mistake about it. If you're assessing him with a 2-stroke penalty, you're saying he cheated. Period. End of sentence. That's what the R&A said, that Bryson cheated. I don't believe that at all. At all. Here's the other thing. Do you know who one of the 11 people were? Bones. Bones didn't think he cheated. Bones didn't think he did anything wrong. Now, who are you going to believe? 2 European Ryder Cuppers who don't like him? Or Bones? I'll believe Bones.
By the way, the rest of the NBC Golf Channel people don't like Bryson. They don't. So when Brandel Chambly gets on there and says it's the most egregious thing he's ever seen, it's laughable.
Oh, that's funny. Rory hit the sand behind his ball in a bunker. That was a great bunker shot. But on his backswing, he clipped the sand. That's 2 strokes. By the way, the R&A can come down after the fact and hand him 2 strokes. They can go, you may not have realized you did it, but here's the video. You did it. So nothing for Rory. 2-stroke penalty to Bryson. And there are a lot of people that believe there's no way the R&A would slap Rory with a penalty.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
So I didn't think it was a penalty.
I didn't at the time. Like I said, you want to get down to the letter of the law when he went behind it. If that's what you want to go to, I can see where they can call it. I didn't think it was a penalty then. I can show you every text I sent on Friday. I had to laugh, and then we come to yesterday, David. And apparently, if there's an immovable object, you can just hit your ball anywhere and take a drop.
Correct.
I mean, Scotty Scheffler hit that ball 30, 40 yards left of target in a bush. First off, they had to find it. No, apparently not. If you hit it over there, it's okay. Like, he didn't even go look for it. Come on, David. When there's an obstruction in any golf I've ever played, you've got to what? Identify your golf ball.
Or you at least have to take the 3 to 5 minutes, try it. You hit a provisional, okay? And in Scotty's case, he wanted to play the provisional because he thought if he actually found the lost ball, he'd be looking at a 7 or an 8. Okay? But he now wants to play the provisional because then bogey's in play. And instead, they tell him about this rule, and Scotty looks at him like, really? And he makes birdie on a ball that's at least 40 yards off target. Unbelievable. I don't like, and Mark, I know you don't either, we don't like and never have penalties being handed down after the round. Okay. I remember a U.S. Open when they went up to Dustin Johnson during the round and said, you're probably going to have a 2-shot penalty. We'll make sure that we're getting the call right, and we'll make sure that you don't sign an incorrect scorecard, but we're pretty sure you committed a rules violation back at some hole on the front nine. And they let them know like right around the turn. As opposed to the round is done, and at the encouragement of other players. By the way, I didn't hear Scotty say that he thought it was deserving of a penalty, because usually, Mark, I mean, these golfers call penalties on themselves. They call penalties on their playing partners.
Right. He didn't say it after the round. He said nothing. I'm not going to comment. Yesterday he commented and kind of tight-roped it. But to me, it made it sound like he was okay with the penalty. That's the way I heard it. If you heard it differently, then we'll just agree to disagree. He didn't come out and say that should have been a penalty, but his word choice was that guys commit penalties out here. However, Bryson's always under the microscope. So he walked his tightrope, but I thought the words that he chose said he was okay with the penalty. We hope you're okay with the starting five, because that's what's next. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
No, maybe. I'm not sure. It's wavier. I will say it's wavier, DC. Curls, I don't think so. Nice as it would be, but I don't think that's happening.
Does my head in the slow play. How do we get back? I don't know. And yes, they say there's a deterrent for slow play, don't they? They say there's a huge deterrent for slow play. 5 hours 40. Was anybody penalised yesterday? No. Something's got to be done because it's too slow. Far too slow. It's my really. If I had to be in the form, that was it. Slow play.
Yes, he could, Sonny. Was texting with a guy I met through the show about that yesterday.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. JP Dellacamera in about 80 minutes. Tim McKone from the Sports Hub in Boston. Red Sox have won a baker's dozen in a row. Wow. We'll talk to JP and Tim coming up. Right now it's time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
And we'll start with the World Cup. Top 2 nations at soccer in the world. Argentina, number 1, the defending champs. Spain, number 2. And Spain scored in the first 30 seconds of the second extra time. So they play 90 minutes, although they actually play a little more than that. And then they play 2 15-minute overtimes. And they were 30 seconds into the second 15-minute overtime when Spain scored in the 106th minute. Spain beat Argentina 1-0. Spain gave up 1 goal the whole tournament. A rebound goal to Belgium. That was it. Remarkable. It's Spain's second title. They won their first in 2010. The irony in that game was their opponent in 2010 also had a player given a red card. And Spain scored with their opponent only having 10 men on the pitch. Same here. Argentina did not have a shot on goal for the first 110 minutes of the match. Remarkable. Mbappe ends up winning the Golden Boot for France. His 2 goals in the third place game Saturday gave him 2 more goals, 10-8 over Messi. So he wins his second straight Golden Boot. He also now has scored more World Cup goals than anyone ever. British Open. Ryan Fox, who had never won a major before. And I don't know about you, Mark, but Ryan Fox could win about 10 majors because Ryan Fox makes Fuzzy Zeller look like he played slow.
Yeah, the next time you're in your foursome and someone starts lining the putt up 3 different ways, just talk about Ryan Fox's birdie putt to win the British Open on 18. The announcers were barely ready for him to strike the putt. They were going through their pomp and circumstance because they're used to a guy being over the ball for an hour and a half. He was over it for 6 seconds. Tops.
He birdied 18, only the 3rd golfer yesterday to birdie 18 to win the British by a shot over Cameron Young, who bogeyed 18 to shoot a 64 and finish in second by a shot. Sam Burns made 3 bogeys in a row on the front 9 and didn't make another birdie the rest of the round. He birdied like the 2nd or 3rd hole, made 3 bogeys on the front 9, and then parred his way in to finish in 3rd place, 2 back. Scheffler and Tommy Fleetwood both finished tied for 4th. Bryson, with the 2-shot penalty, finished tied for 14th. If he had not had the 2-shot penalty, he would have finished 6th and 4 back. Instead, he finished tied for 14th and 6 back. Rory, by the way, tied for 40th at 1 under par. Baseball. The Rays have now lost 5 in a row, including 4 in a row to the Red Sox coming out of the All-Star break. The Red Sox have won 13 in a row. Boston 6-1 over Tampa Bay. Yankees took 1 of 3 from the Dodgers, getting a Jazz Chisholm homer in the 8th inning of the nightcap yesterday and beating the Dodgers 2-1. They're a game and a half back of the Rays, 2 in the loss column. Don't look now, the Orioles have won 7 in a row. Red Sox and Orioles going to play a 3-game series beginning tonight. 2 teams combined have won 20 in a row. Baltimore 5-2 over Houston. By the way, Baltimore just 2 games back for the last playoff spot in the American League, which now belongs to the Red Sox. Braves beat Texas 8-5. Texas with a half a game lead for the division lead in the West, and they're 3 games up are the Braves over the Phillies in the NL East. Seattle, a game back for the final playoff spot in the American League, and just a half game back of Texas for first place in the West.
And David, more importantly, they are 50-50. At this point in time, we have 7. Count them. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 American League teams 500 or better. It's a season high.
White Sox, one of those 7. They lead the Central by a game. They beat Toronto 3-0. Cleveland tied for the final playoff spot. Oh, I'm sorry. The Pirates are tied for the final playoff spot in the National League. In fact, Mark, here's my nomination for a poll question. Pittsburgh, St. Louis, and Miami are all tied for the final playoff spot, and the Diamondbacks are a half a game back. Which of the 4 teams is going to be the 6th seed in the National League? But Pittsburgh 7-1 over Cleveland. Guardians a game back of the White Sox in the Central.
Looking for votes, huh? you know what? You're right. We need to get back to popular poll questions. Let's talk NL wild card. Hello.
And especially since 2 of the teams involved are the Pirates and the Marlins. And for that matter, the 3rd team involved is St. Louis. Cubs 10-1 over the Twins. Twins 2 back for a wild card, 4 back in the Central. Cubs 6 back of Milwaukee. They are the 4 seed. They would host the wild card series, which right now would be against the Phillies. So the Marlins had a 1-0 lead going to the bottom of the 9th. And remember when we were talking late last week about areas that the Marlins have to improve? And we said, closer. Fairbanks has been a bust. I gave up a 3-run homer in the 9th. Milwaukee 3-1 over Miami. Marlins have lost 6 in a row.
His ERA is nearly 7.5.
Yeah, $13 million.
Right. That's a lot for the Marlins. That's not a lot for a baseball player anymore. But 7.42, that's a lot for a closer, David.
Especially since the Rays were the ones that gave him up, and the guy who replaced him made the All-Star game. Mets took 2 out of 3 from the Phillies, 6-1. Angels beat the Tigers 3-2. Don't look now, but the Washington Nationals are still 500. And they're just 2 back of the Marlins, the Pirates, and the Cardinals for the 6th seed in the National League. Padres scored 19 runs. Yikes. They beat the Royals 19-2. Cincy beat Colorado 9-6. And the Cardinals had a 7-0 lead in the 6th inning in Arizona. And the Diamondbacks scored 3 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th to tie it, and 1 in the 10th to win it. 8-7 Arizona over St. Louis. Yikes. NASCAR, the short track that is North Wilkesboro, Joey Logano led 323 laps. He won it. Denny Hamlin finished 2nd. Ross Chastain, 27th. Boy, if he doesn't get a win, does not look like he's going to make the playoffs.
He can't be anywhere close, can he?
Well, I don't think they've got enough drivers in the playoff who have won races. So I think there could be 2 or 3 drivers who get in on points, even though their point total is not in the top 12. So we shall see.
Yeah, he's 21st right now. So
Right. And at 12 minutes before the hour mark, that was starting 5 big stories you needed to know here on Miller and Moulton.
baseball was done so early last night. I actually am looking around for something. I'm like, the NASCAR race is still on. I watched like the last 5 laps. I didn't pay much attention. I was on my phone most of the time, but Logano was winning when I turned it on, and then he won. And then he did that burnout thing.
That's 2 weeks in a row you've caught the last few laps of the NASCAR race.
Yep. You know me. I'm a fan.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But I will tell you, Ryan Fox did more for fast golf. That it stinks that that's not the story. The story is going to be Bryson and Rory's pettiness and Bryson's penalty. I mean, for as much as the networks don't root for Bryson, and they don't, they love the ratings he brings. I mean, USA stayed with that. It was dark. I mean, they stayed with that forever. And in their beautiful way of covering golf, the internet had told us there was a 2-shot penalty. If you had the app for the Open, that told you, or the website, that there was a 2-shot penalty. NBC, I believe, needed to take one more commercial break to keep you around for 5 to 7 minutes longer before they told you it was a 2-shot penalty.
Here's what bothered me yesterday. So I think it was Bryson, and they're showing a shot. And then a minute and a half later, they're showing another shot. And then a minute and a half later, they're showing another shot, all in the same hole. And at no point in time did they let us know that moments ago. So you're watching the first 2 shots thinking, oh, this is live. No. Nobody shows more taped golf than NBC.
And it's the coverage lacks a little bit. By the way, Monty yesterday went after slow play. I don't know if you caught the comment. He was interviewed, and as the person who I saw it on X, it was posted, yep, I get it. Nobody likes him. He's never won a major. Tell me where he's wrong. David, when Lee Trevino won there in 71, and I get it, that's 10 lifetimes ago. I understand. I was 2, not like I remember it. But they played in threesomes, and they played in under 4 hours. Yesterday, they played in twosomes. It took 5 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's absurd. Listen, it's just like diving in soccer. If this means something to you guys, you can fix it in 3 days. You could. It's real simple. You do to golfers what you did to Bryson. Oh, my goodness. An hour will come off pace of play right away.
And one group got put on the clock yesterday because they did make mention of it. I think it was the final group. But it's not like they got penalized for it.
And I will say, I think that's the most absurd thing going when you're penalizing the final group for slow play. Who are they inconveniencing? But that's me.
Neither here nor there. They don't penalize anybody for it. And
Nope.
to put the group on the clock's ridiculous because very rarely is it both guys. Typically, it's one slow player. We all know who it is. We've all played with them. And they
Right.
don't think they're slow.
No.
But tremendous finish for Fox to win the British. Second New Zealander to win a major along with Bob Charles, who won the British like in 60-something.
I think 63.
That's what I was going to go with, and I wasn't absolutely sure I was correct.
He was also, I think, the first lefty to win a major.
That is very true. That is very true. So Ryan Fox with the win. Bryson penalized on Friday. Rory hates Bryson. I wish the World Cup, or not the World Cup, I wish the Ryder Cup was next week. I'd want him to play, I'd want him to play every day. But Rory never does anything wrong. Just don't look anything up. Whatever you do, don't look at any of his history.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. PelicанRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real. The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Buying or selling a home? Put a local expert to work for you. I'm Mark Miller, and I believe real estate is about more than transactions. It's about helping people make the right move. From pricing your home to negotiating the best deal, I'll be with you every step of the way. Call or text me today, 239-425-5582. That's 239-425-5582. Experience, local knowledge, and the best personal service. That's the difference.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I know that's what some of the players are saying, Sonny, but the RNA did to me. If they wanted to just put the penalty on and go, they didn't need to let that go on for an hour. They could have just said it's a penalty and called it and put the tee times out. I think that's on them more than it's on Bryson. But they're going to blame Bryson. Oh, Enzo, no one will care. I don't know if you're just joining us. We won't talk about it again for 3 years and 11 months. But for the last 5 weeks, it gave us something to watch. It was incredibly well received in this country. Incredibly well. And it was a very fun tournament, except for that last game. That was pretty boring, if you ask me. No, because he would have still had a tee time, and then he would have not shown, Sonny. It was the RNA. You can't blame Bryson for them taking that long to issue a penalty. That's the RNA. All they had to do was say it's 2 shots, and that's all there is to it. And Enzo, to finish on the World Cup, I don't know. I mean, it gave us, and you may have hated it, and others may not have liked it. But I have to be honest with you. It gave us 20 plus segments over the last month. That's great in the summer. Oh, exactly, Matthew. They love to blame him. That's their favorite thing to do. the league in our country, Enzo's, we've talked about it, it's somewhere between 8 and 10 in the world as far as leagues go. It's not good.
Huh.
But I've told you before, I'll watch, like on Saturday mornings, I'll watch the Premier League. I actually think Premier League numbers will go up because of this, because now we have a few more people that people will watch. Like, I think, Holland's a guy that people will watch. He and his stuffed raccoon, of which that store is now sold out of. And they're shipping them apparently all over the world. That and him hitting balls off of a yacht over the weekend was one of my highlights. Lefty, swings hard. Going Kramer, hitting golf balls. Yeah, we did, OC. He mentioned it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. 2 weeks today is the baseball trading deadline, Monday, August 3rd. And by the way, the magic numbers, college football season begins in 40 days. NFL season begins in 51, 7 weeks from Wednesday. 40 and 51, your magic numbers to the start of the football seasons.
And David, tomorrow, or I'm sorry, I guess Wednesday, we've got teams reporting to training camp.
Yeah?
We've got teams reporting it. I got the 22nd as the date that Arizona and Carolina report. So by the 28th, by next Tuesday, apparently all the teams will be in training camp or thereabout. So I don't really, we got JP Dellacamera on, and we'll talk a little World Cup, and could go in a few different directions. I'm not going to get into breaking down yesterday's game because I know you don't care. But if you are on social media, there was a great clip of the BBC coming back from the halftime performance. They get one of their best to come on. Wayne Rooney is part of the team. And he summed up the World Cup halftime show pretty quickly. They basically asked him, what did you think? And he said, that was crap. That's fantastic. That right there is the difference between their broadcasts and I guess ours. Because even if you thought it, I don't think they'd allow you to say it. Apparently, I didn't realize that made quite a bit of stink because, they normally get 15 minutes and that was like 30. I think they cut it back some to try to limit the time, but they could have, the show was only 12 or something like that. But of course they got to do their analysis. So it was a longer halftime, something that's unusual and doesn't happen in that sport. I had to laugh because my wife had given the World Cup more time than I ever in a million years would have imagined she'd done. And she's watching with me yesterday. She's rooting for Argentina. She wants Messi to win. And, halftime, that's for the Super Bowl halftime. That's for the ladies. We've talked about it. Not you women sports fans. Don't get mad at me. The rest of them. But, we get a little Madonna. We get a little Biebs. We get a little Shakira. And David, we got the Muppets.
We did.
The Muppets. I didn't even know the Muppets were still a thing.
I didn't either.
Are they big in Europe? Are they like Spinal Tap? Are they big in Denmark? I mean, what the hell?
I did not react favorably to the Muppets. I was like, what the heck is this? And my wife is like, oh, well, this and this. And I'm like, no. What are we doing? This is absurd.
I mean, you wanted to bring Jack White out to blast a little Seven Nation Army for 45 seconds. I'm okay with that. I believe he's on tour. But, wow. Of all the, look at Madonna's old. Still can perform. It looked very lip syncy to me, but whatever.
I was going to say, what is she, like 59, 60?
Madonna?
Yeah.
67, I believe.
Wow. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. When she was rolling around on stage, that was like 85. So okay.
Yeah. She will be 68 next month.
Wow.
Right. I mean, Shakira at nearly 50 years old. Wow. So
I was lucky. Shakira and J-Lo were the halftime the last time the Super Bowl was in Miami. It wasn't a bad view.
no, it's not it wasn't a bad view yesterday. I mean, wow, that's impressive. So, but the Muppets, that kind of threw me for a loop. I didn't think that was needed. But Biebs, acoustic Biebs, show you how old my wife and I are. He came up, my wife goes, "Who's that?" That's Biebs, honey. I knew and she didn't. That's the scary part.
Right.
And I think I only knew because I had seen the list of performers. That was basically that. But I just loved Wayne Rooney. That was crap. Thank you, Wayne. That you know what? There you go. I don't think that's going to stop halftime shows. Here, the next World Cup, the next time we talk about soccer, 3 years, 11 months. Hydration breaks will still be a thing. You can book it. And that's TV timeouts. That's going to happen. That makes if they want their $1 billion for this, David, the hydration breaks will continue. Guaranteed.
Yep. And there's no one who considers themselves a soccer/football fan who likes the hydration breaks.
Right. But they're going to stay. They're here to stay. There's your Americanization of the World Cup. And I think now, do they have a 30-minute halftime show next time?
Hope not. But then again, there was things that FIFA's into, promoting love. They're
why did they promote bribery? I mean, why don't they actually promote the things they actually love?
And that they're good at.
Right.
Right. They were promoting education worldwide.
They should have had Biebs hand a suitcase full of money to another performer. That would have been funny. And had the guy with the suit on with FIFA on the shirt. That would have made a statement.
Yes.
But Spain, your winner. World Cup over. And we won't bring it up. Well, JP Dellacamera coming up here in an hour. But after that, we're done. That's it. It's the last time you'll hear about this sport from us. We'll start getting into training camp injuries later this week.
Whether there are any or not.
Couple weeks till the baseball trade deadline. David and I argued, we disagreed. And I think we ended up both being right. because David going into the weekend said, this series is much bigger for the Red Sox. And I'm like, I don't know. I think the Rays, this is a tough set of games. They got to get off to a good start. Well, when one team sweeps and obviously the other gets swept, it is big for both. Fortunately for the Rays, the Yankees played the Dodgers and lost 2 of 3. But still, a game and a half of that lead has disappeared for the Rays. And here are the Yankees who are hanging around even more closely to the Rays. And at some point, they're going to get some players back. Nobody has any idea when. Because Judge said he's playing. When asked about a timeline, they didn't have a clue. We'll say the other news, Ohtani's knee there. He's not going to pitch. You really hope that this isn't a bigger issue for him just because he's such a draw and he's a guy that's so fun to watch. But, they were talking last night when he had the swing and miss strikeout that announcers thought that they could see him, balance-wise not being set. So obviously I'm not worried about the Dodgers winning their division, but you don't want to see Ohtani be out for any length of time, certainly not in the postseason, but we'll see how much he does pitching between now and the end of the season.
Well, the other thing is they're only a half a game ahead of Milwaukee for the 1 seed. So I could argue you might be better off being the 2 seed than the 1 seed, but so just something to keep in the back of your mind as the final 10 weeks play themselves out.
But what are the Rays? We've kind of gone through. I don't think this weekend changes anything with me as far as the Rays. They need a couple more. We've thought they need players, not a player. When we talked to Neil there from their broadcast, he's like, just more pitching. They need a bat. I want a rise on that team. I want them there now. I need somebody else getting on base. I know they're not going to make the big splash. But we talked with Kyle Seeloff. He's looking third base for the Marlins to add a bat and a spot in the lineup that they need. But now losers of 5 in a row. Are the Rays 6 for the Marlins? We'll see. They've got to get this righted quickly because as we've pointed out, with the Red Sox having basically the last 17 days have been pretty damn good, you can turn your fortunes around rather quickly in Major League Baseball. Neither league's impenetrable. And a bad 2 weeks, though, could make you, if you thought you were a buyer and you throw a 2-10, 3-10 up there, David, you could become sellers pretty quickly.
Well, the Rays better be buyers because they had a golden opportunity 2 weeks ago, that 4-game series at home against the Yankees, who were struggling and were wounded. And they took 2 out of the first 3, and they had the clear pitching matchup in the final game of that series, and they got spanked. And then the Yankees picked up another game on the Rays before heading to the All-Star break, and now look at them. Instead of being 6-7 up on the Yankees, now here we are, 3 days removed from the All-Star break, and they're 2 in the loss column, a game and a half in the standings.
40 days till the start of college football, 51 days until the beginning of the National Football League season. The best 51s to ever play. Next, Miller and Moulton.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Buying or selling a home? Put a local expert to work for you. I'm Mark Miller, and I believe real estate is about more than transactions. It's about helping people make the right move. From pricing your home to negotiating the best deal, I'll be with you every step of the way. Call or text me today, 239-425-5582. That's 239-425-5582. Experience, local knowledge, and the best personal service. That's the difference.
This is Miller and Moulton. You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. 40 days away to the start of the college football season. 51 days away from the start of the NFL season. 51. I got 3 51s off the top of my head, and nobody else who I would consider elite unless I'm missing somebody.
Well, first off, there's really not a basketball or a hockey player worth mentioning that wore 51. I mean, there are guys you've heard of, and I do want to say Lawrence Funderburk on the air. He wore it, but I'm just saying that because of the name. But I think, I think it's pretty easy, and to me, it's pretty easy in football. Like, I think you start with one here, and then you add the others. That's me. Now, there may be, you may have more on your list, but I think it starts with an old guy, and I think it ends with the old guy. But there are some pretty elite baseball players that wore this number.
Well, I got 2 51s in baseball, and they both played for the same team.
Okay.
Ichiro,
Mm-hmm.
Randy Johnson.
Bingo. 2 others that I think make the list, if you will. They're not there. They're not up that high. But Bertie Williams wore 51. Pretty good play.
Yes.
And Trevor Hoffman wore 51.
Yeah, Hall of Famer.
Right. But to me, they don't reach the mark of the first 2. I mean, even Hoffman in the Hall of Fame, to me, that's a different wing than the Randy Johnson Ichiro wing, if you know what I mean.
Agreed.
But in football, I think you start with the guy in Chicago. And everybody else is just a guy. And there's some really good players. But Dick Butkus is the 51 when it comes to football. Bunch of good 51s. That's the greatest 51.
Who are the good ones?
Sam Mills. I mean, Hall of Famer, but I know you don't think so.
No, I don't think he'd be in the Hall of Fame if he didn't die at a young age from cancer.
Lyman from the Niners, Randy Cross, wore 51.
Good, very good player.
Right. Ken Norton Jr., 151, wore 51. That's, Brian Cox wore 51. And another Hall of Famer, but you got to go into the Wayback Machine. And this is a guy I only know because I looked up. Jim Ringo played for the Packers and played 2 ways, apparently. So there you go. It was in 10 Pro Bowls and is in the Hall of Fame. So that's, there's a few others, but that's kind of the list to me. I mean, maybe Takeo Spikes is on that list for some of you. But that's my 51 list. So, but Butkus in football, Ichiro and Randy Johnson in baseball, I think everybody else is fighting for a spot that's not on the medal stand, if you know what I mean.
Right.
I do need to make a correction, David, and I did not know this. This is on me. It's on you. And someone texted in, and I'm like, said in NASCAR, wins don't get you in, only points. I'm like, what? Wins get you in. Wins have gotten you in for a few years. David, they took that away. That's how much this year.
Huh.
The win and you're in rule has been eliminated. The postseason consists of 16 drivers who qualify based on regular season point standings. Now, race wins are worth more than they've ever been worth. They're worth 55 points instead of 40. So it's a significant jump in total points. But I did not realize that they changed that rule. That shows you that I don't pay attention. So I actually argued with a texter on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. 21,000 is the number, by the way, if you want to, you want to chime in and tell me what I'm wrong about. And if you can prove it, I'll be more than happy to tell you. The other thing, David, apparently, there's no more elimination in the playoffs. All 16 drivers are in for all 10 chase races.
Huh.
So there you go. They've made changes in NASCAR. If you make changes in a sport and no one notices, did you really make changes?
Yeah, I don't know if I like these changes.
Well, I doesn't matter to me one way or another. The championship's never been about winning races. It's always was about consistency, even though most champs had won races. How many times, David, there had to be times when guys won a championship without winning a race. I'm sure it happened.
I wonder if Jimmy Johnson did it one year. I think Gordon did it one year. But I just think that we should emphasize winning a lot more in sports. I think winning should be worth more points. Even though I hate the FedEx Cup playoffs and the Charles Schwab and all that, but to me, you should get a lot more for winning.
I will say in golf, you do. You win a tournament, the point, I'm with you. I don't care about the FedEx Cup points. You win, you go flying up that standings chart. But, and I know you want it, you want regulation. You've been the biggest advocate of regulation wins in hockey, even more than me. I agree with your point system. I've just pointed out it hasn't changed much over the years of who would be in, but it has been a bone of contention for you for at least 5 years, at least.
Yep. I think there were 2 teams who made the playoffs this year who would not have made the playoffs if wins were worth 3 points.
So there you have it. We got a baseball trade deadline coming up in a couple of weeks. This weekend certainly, I think, muddied the waters more than anything else. The Red Sox and Orioles getting ready for what now is a really important series coming right off of the All-Star break. Orioles, second hottest team in the game, next to the Red Sox, who have won 13 in a row. And Boston, we'll talk with Tim McKone coming up in about an hour's time. JP Dellacamera to put a bow on the World Cup. British Open yesterday, Ryan Fox, your winner, and the best part about it was how long he took over the putt on 18. Almost caught the announcers off guard. He putted the ball so quickly. He was talking after, David, and I don't know if you caught it, and it was well after. But apparently he played with Scheffler in Phoenix, and he said, I don't know if it was a compliment or a diss, but after we were done, Scheffler, said it was like we played a twosome out there because he swung so fast we never had any idea that he hit shots. I hope he wins every tournament for the rest of his life.
Totally. And I hope one of his wins is he finishes a shot back, but they penalize the guy he lost to 2 shots for slow play.
As long as it's Rory, I'm in.
Yep.
Because the Bryson controversy is what took over the British Open, really throughout the entire weekend. And, Rory, he agrees with the RNA. Of course he does. Would he have agreed if it was his buddy Shane Lowry? That's what I want to know. Somehow I doubt it. But because it was Bryson, and at least I give Roy credit for one thing, I'm not fond of him. Well, you said that. Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton. Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour. AP Dellacamera to join us at the top of the hour. We put the World Cup to bed, and we don't mention it for another 3 years, 10.5 months at the earliest. Unless the U.S. doesn't qualify. Because then
Right.
that'd be like 3 years and 8 or 9 months.
Right. That's a good point.
You
That's
know?
a good point. But now with 48, it seems difficult to imagine that would happen. With 24, there was always the chance.
Right.
Now
And
with the doubling of teams, it seems highly unlikely.
And remember, in 2018, we didn't qualify.
Right.
So JP Dellacamera at the top of the hour. Tim McKone, 98.5, the Sports Hub in Boston. Red Sox on fire. They won 13 in a row. Just swept a 4-gamer from the Rays. They're going to play a series with the Orioles here. Beginning tonight, I believe, in which the Red Sox have won 13 in a row and the Orioles have won 7. Look out.
And, look at, do I think they catch the Rays or Yankees? Probably not. But they're only 6 back. I mean, yeah, it's the AL East, not the AL Central. But we've watched double-digit leads be blown in August in that division. So while the Red Sox right now are a wild card team, their sights could be set a lot higher. And what I find fascinating is that they were a team that was a seller 2 weeks ago. So are they buyers now? And if so, for what? I mean, it puts them in a very interesting spot. Because we said this last week. I mean, you've got the Angels, the A's, and the Royals that are out. They're out. Okay. In the National League, you've got the Mets, and I think they will be sellers. I think we both do. The Reds now are 6 back in the wild card, but I think they should be sellers. The Giants are 9.5 back in the wild card. They will be sellers. And if there's something on the Rockies that's worthwhile, they can sell also. That means if you're going to make a trade, you're going to probably have to deal with a team that wants to get better. So now it's a matter of matching up weaknesses with other teams' strengths. And who can put together a trade that may be mutually beneficial for both clubs? Like I follow the Tigers. Do I think they're going to make the wild card? I have no idea. You win 2 or 3, you've been playing you win 2 or 3 over the weekend and you lose ground. But it came out that the word is they're not trading Skubal now. I think that's a terrible move. I'd trade him. I'm sorry. But they have an owner that's in an interesting spot. He owns the other team in town that people do care about. I know you don't care about hockey everywhere, but they do in Detroit. He's got a captain that wants out of his hockey team. He just fired a general manager. Now, his baseball general manager didn't do anything last year at the deadline either. So that, to me, to sell is a bad look. And that's where I think they're at right now, David. I think PR-wise, selling's an awful look for them. But I can make a case that selling Skubal's the only move worth making.
Yeah. I picked the Tigers 3 weeks ago to make the playoffs. So I haven't given up on the Tigers at all. And you said, Moulton, you're crazy. I said, Not in that division, I'm not, Mark. Not in that division. So I would not sell. I wouldn't. Now, if in the next 14 days, they go like 5-8, oh, okay, maybe I could be talked into trading Scooble.
All right. Let me just ask you. I'm going to go through the teams and your choice. This isn't, it's a, yes, no, maybe so. Instead, it's buyers, sellers, stand pat. You can give me what you think they should do and what you think they will do. Rays. We think they should be buyers. Will
Yes.
they be?
Yes.
Yankees will be buyers.
Yes.
Red Sox.
Yes,
Orioles.
they should be. But I don't have a lot of faith in their front office.
Me either. I think they'll be sellers. There's been talk of guys being on the block. Blue Jays.
No, they'll be sellers,
White Sox.
small buyers.
Yeah, like Stan Pat would be more likely to me, but I'm with you. Guardians, I would say same thing for what it's worth.
Yes,
Twins.
the same thing.
Tigers say they're going to be buyers. I'll believe it when I see it. Rangers, they're a game above 500. They're leading the division.
They should be buyers because with their pitching, they could do damage in October. I mean, DeGrom and Evaldi, your top two starters.
They're minus 31 run differential. That's a team that needs bats. Mariners, even at 500.
They should be buyers. Same deal with that pitching.
Astros.
But I said a month ago, sellers. Then they had that great month, but they just got swept over the weekend.
Braves.
Oh, buyers.
Phillies.
Buyers.
Marlins.
Buyers.
I think they'll stand pat. Nationals.
Sell, actually.
Brewers.
Oh, buy.
I don't know how much they'll buy, but you're probably right. Cubs.
Buy.
And they're firmly in the wild card.
Yeah,
Cardinals.
they've had a lot of injuries to their starting pitching. They need to buy.
See, I think the Cardinals will be sellers. I really do.
I was talking about the Cubs.
Oh,
yes, I agree with you. I think the Cardinals will play it cheap.
Pirates.
I think they're going to buy.
And I don't think they'll buy much because they're cheap too. Dodgers, I think they're going to be making moves.
Yeah.
With Ichiro now, not Ichiro. We did the 51s in my brain. With Ohtani in the knee and not being able to pitch, I could see them making moves. They've got a farm system that can afford the ability to go out and get a player or two. Diamondbacks, they're a half game out of the wild card.
They're a very aggressive front office. I'll say buy.
And the Padres, I wonder if they're sellers now, David.
Yeah, I know, but usually they're very aggressive, but they have very few prospects left in the system anymore. And they're like sixth. They have to leapfrog 6 teams, I think, to be the 6th seed. The Cardinals, Pirates, Marlins,
Yeah.
Nats, and Diamondbacks.
Tatis only has 7 home runs on the season. I don't know what you'd get for him. He gets paid a ton of money, but do you try to move him to replenish your depth of your roster? Because that's a bat that someone might take a chance on.
Well, also their sale is just going through, and between Tatis and Machado, that's $55 million in salary.
Yeah, I just don't think Machado's getting moved. Like I could see them wanting to unload Tatis. I don't see them wanting to unload Machado right now. But they have some players that I think would draw some interest from people. I do. So I think they're a team. I'll be curious what they do because I'm with you, David. They've got too many teams to overcome. That's the same thing I think about the Tigers. Like I think the Tigers have too many teams to get past. You know, they have there's 3 teams ahead of them in their own division.
Right.
You know, the Twins, I don't think will be buyers. I just think they stand pat. But the Twins have been incredibly impressive this year. It's hard to look at what the Twins have done. And with the fire sale a year ago, they're 2 games below 500. But, you know, they're a minus 24 run differential. I don't see it. They need pitching. They give up a ton of runs. They've been scoring at a great pace this year. But they've given up over 500 runs. They need to acquire pitching. I don't see that happening. So I'm you know, a lot of teams out there that should be buyers. If David's right, and I largely think that you are, David, I mean, you had 80% of those teams being buyers. Well, that means we've got to have trades, you know, ones that help both teams.
Right.
Those 70s and 80s trades that we love so much, where you actually are making them better while you're making yourselves better. Not just for draft picks and farmhands and prospects. And now with so many teams have brought up their prospects early, you know, the farm sit, if the guy's ready, they're playing him, whether it's Pittsburgh, Detroit, Chicago, the White Sox, you know, these teams are bringing guys up and putting them in. So it'll be interesting. You know, the Yankees got a couple of guys. Are they willing to give them up? But for what? Because they need they don't need pitching. The Yankees need some bats. Even with Judge coming back, they could use a bat or two. And who knows when Judge is coming back. Stanton, I can't count on. I just can't. I'm sorry. He got hurt rehabbing from this past injury. That's why he's out. Yeah, he'd be tremendous if you get him back in the lineup. But he's hurt more than he's healthy, unfortunately. So these next 2 weeks, and, you know, Red Sox, Orioles, if the Red Sox stay hot and take 2 or 3 from the Orioles, does that make Baltimore more sellers than buyers? Probably.
Well, the Orioles are a lot like the Yankees in this sense. Their key young players are always hurt. Always. And that's why there's talk that the GM, okay, unless they really take it to the Red Sox, that the GM may be sellers.
So that's where we're at as far as 2 weeks from the trade deadline. A bunch of teams are still in this sucker, and we'll see how it pans out. But I'm with you, David. I think this Red Sox-Orioles series, I think it's big for the Orioles. If they lose 2 or 3, or if they get, you know, the Red Sox, my goodness, if they were to sweep. But I think losing 2 or 3 and the O's could say time to move on from some players. And when you look at it from a buying standpoint, if there are that many teams that think that they're in it, well, you know what happens, then the price goes up.
Yep.
And are teams willing to give what they may need to give to get someone from the Reds, to get someone from the Giants? Because both the Reds and Giants, David, thought that they had the opportunity to be playoff teams this year. So,
because the Reds were a playoff team last year.
And while they're underachieving, there's pressure then on GMs to try to not just give everything up and cash in for next year. So that's where we're at. We'll put a bow on the World Cup at the top of the hour. JP Dellacamera will join us. We'll talk with Tim McKone about the Red Sox at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. Your text, always welcome. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. 21,000 is the number. If you've never texted the show before, the keyword is Miller. Text Miller to 21,000 and then let it rip. I missed a big day yesterday. Yesterday was National Ice Cream Day. I feel like I let myself and our audience down because I'm a pint a day type guy without alcohol. But it went right by me. It went right by me. So I'll make up for it today if I can. That'll be the goal. We're closing in on training camps. 51 and 40 are the magic numbers. We went through the best 51s of all time. Baseball's got a bunch. Football's got a bunch of good players, but there's only one Dick Butkus. And that is at the top of our list as far as 51s. 51 days until the start of the National Football League season. 40 days until week 0 in college. Couple of games that'll grab our attention, but it doesn't really get going until Labor Day weekend. In fact, you could argue until week 2 when we get Texas and Ohio State and Michigan and Oklahoma. Did see a few previews over the weekend for that. For those of you that watched the World Cup final, there was a few. British Open, there was a few on that too. JP Dellacamera, he's next to put a bow on the World Cup. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape. The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Buying or selling a home? Put a local expert to work for you. I'm Mark Miller, and I believe real estate is about more than transactions. It's about helping people make the right move. From pricing your home to negotiating the best deal, I'll be with you every step of the way. Call or text me today, 239-425-5582. That's 239-425-5582. Experience, local knowledge, and the best personal service. That's the difference.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good morning, JP.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm good. Starting my day. You guys are probably halfway into it.
Yeah, that's about it. That's where it is. My co-host's a little under it, so it's just me for the rest of the day. He's struggling. He's I don't know. You probably, I hate to hit you with both. I just got through a cancer bout that things are going the right way for me. He's in the middle of one, and he's just in a lot of pain today. So that's it for him for the day.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's life, man. You can't dwell on it. You just got to keep going. Now, can I ask you a question? Because I do struggle with this, and I don't want to do it on air. When they called that was a hard foul. When I watch a game and they're attacking the ball, I didn't think he attacked the player. I'm like, no one argued. Like the announcers basically just thought it was a red all the way. Is that a yellow or I mean, because he fell so hard. If he doesn't fall as hard, is that a yellow? I'm just curious when watching it because I still haven't figured that out.
For me, it's 100% red.
Okay.
It's, very hard contact. He didn't pull out.
Gotcha.
But let me just think. They gave him a yellow, right? Yeah, they gave him a yellow. It was the second yellow.
Oh, it was the second yellow. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, because I just saw the red right away.
I don't mean 100% red. Sorry, 100% yellow, which was his second.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 100% yellow card. Yeah.
Okay. That was for those of us that I got into this World Cup. I get that, and we'll get into it. I get that Spain's great defensively, but it's a tough watch when one team. I'm a hockey guy. That's like a 50. That's a 56-13 shots on goal game right there.
I've done those games. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Me too. A lot of years doing minor league hockey. So yes.
Did you?
Yeah.
Where?
I worked in Atlanta in the IHL, and then I worked in the ECHL for Nashville, Raleigh, and then I came to Southwest Florida and helped start the Everblades franchise up, which is down
wow. They're a good franchise, Everblades.
They're a great franchise, yeah. I was there their first 8 years, and I've been doing this ever since.
How much time do we have before we go on?
A minute and a half.
Oh, okay. I was going to say to you, my dream was to be an NHL announcer. I grew up in Boston. That's what I minor league hockey for over 10 years. I got close to NHL jobs, never got one. Then when I stopped looking for one, I got the Atlanta Thrashers job in 2000 something because a friend of mine knew I did hockey. A job opened up.
Okay, so let's see. Who did you get it at? Because they got they did the one radio guy at first who was just awful.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, no.
I
did TV. Yeah, and I know who you mean. He was a screamer.
Yeah, and I like. Shot and a save. Like Scott Farrell. That's his name.
It was very famous back then.
And he did sports in that town. I got along with Scott very well when I worked, because I worked for the Knights right before the Thrashers came. And I loved that city. That's where I moved after college. I saw a soft spot for Atlanta.
Me too. Great city.
And I'm a struggling Red Wing fan right now with what's going on up there.
Ooh, so. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of, I don't know about Hero. I'm a little too old for him to be a hero, but he's probably my favorite all-time player for that team.
He was big.
Oh
my God.
And he's a good dude. Never did anything that made you not like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Thanks again, JP.
Sure, Mark.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Thanks so much for listening in, wherever you may be. Jacksonville, Tampa, Southwest Florida, Lake City, Live Oak, Port Charlotte, Venice, and on the Miller and Moulton hotline. JP Dellacamera joins us now. He called some of the World Cup, been calling soccer for quite a while now, and we ended up taking a little bit of that break, talking a little hockey. JP, good morning. Thanks for taking some time for us this morning.
Morning, Mark. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Saturday was wild for a third place game. That was kind of fun to watch, although not a normal soccer game. Sunday was very normal for Spain. And for those of us like me who really got into this tournament, I kind of struggled watching the game. I made the comment to you. I did hockey for a lot of years. It was like 56 shots on goal for one team and 11 for the other. It was very tilted. It was very one-sided. Was it perfection by Spain defensively, JP?
I think it was perfection marked by Spain offensively because Argentina didn't have the ball. And all of our analysts were saying the same thing. For Argentina to win, they're going to need the ball at some point, and Spain is so good at keeping it. Not only is Spain so good at keeping it, but on the rare times when they lose it, they win it back quickly, right? And you could probably count on one hand the number of bad passes that they would make in a game, where you see all these games all the time where teams are constantly, taking risky passes, giving the ball away in a bad part of the field. And Spain really don't do that. And that's kind of lost, I think, when you talk about their shutouts. They had 8 games played, allowed 1 goal, 7 shutouts, and yet when I looked up stats, their goalkeeper before this last game, he was ranked something like 20th in saves. And it's because they don't give up many shots because they have the ball. So I think it was more perfection from them on an offensive side of the ball rather than defensive. But also defensively, when they had to, Messi, depends on which article you read. I thought I read one where he had 15 touches total in the first half. I mean, whatever it was a very low number for Messi. And even Messi, who to me is the greatest of all time, needs the ball to score, and he wasn't getting it.
Well, excellent point. The other thing, like defensively, just one last thing on that thing. To me, whenever Argentina did get the ball, you watch Spain offensively. When they had the ball, they were quickly to midfield and beyond. When Argentina had the ball, they couldn't seemingly get the ball with control past midfield. I mean, their goalie had more touches in that game than he may have had the whole tournament in trying to set up. Spain forces you backward almost.
They do, and I think, it's human nature, I guess, when you think about it. If you're Argentina and you know that this pass has to be perfect, this run has to be perfect, everything has to be perfect, because if it's not only are they going to get the ball back, but you don't know when you're going to get it next. So it might have been like a head games type of thing too that interfered with them. But keep in mind this too, Argentina, and I'm sure other people are going to be talking about this today. 7, 8 players maybe over the age of 30. Their average age was close to or over 30, which, it's not young. I read somewhere where Spain was the 5th youngest team there. And think about what Argentina had to go through, to get here. You could look on paper and say, well, it was Cape Verde and Egypt, but those two gave them a good run for their money and forced them to come back. And even in the England game, how much energy they had to expand on. So there could have been some fatigue there as well. And there was definitely fatigue towards the end, especially when you're playing with 10 men against Spain. See you later. That's not happening.
How hard is it to play for Spain? Because you talked about how good they are offensively, and they made comments during the broadcast that they don't really take chances offensively. They don't go for the hero pass. They don't play these very long balls that, a great player can make a touch and play. It's very methodical. And yet they had 2 guys under the age of 20 on their team. It's a bunch of young players that this team's going to be around for a while, a great mix of experience and youth. Just how hard is it to play for Spain? Because it's as unique of a style as we'd seen in the tournament.
Well, they grow up in that culture, right? I mean, Spain plays the same way. And so when you're a young Spanish international, if you're playing at the youth level, you know how they play. And that's how you develop. And it's very similar to Barcelona. And I'm sure several of their Spain players in this World Cup and in previous World Cups have either played before for Barcelona or are currently playing now. So it's a culture. It's something that they grow up with. But think about this. If their passing accuracy yesterday was 90%, which it was, that tells me that they're not making high-risk passes, because the percentage wouldn't be as high as that if you're constantly sending long balls into the box. And those are 50-50s, right? So if you have a tall physical team, you have a shot at it. But if you're a team that likes to play with the ball mostly on the ground, I would say, and quickly and short 1 and 2 touch passes, then that's different. And that's why Spain's passing accuracy is so high. And when they had the ball, I even noticed this when the ball went back to their goalkeeper. It's almost like an instinct. He looks up, not even a second, and he finds a guy wide open, maybe 40 yards upfield. And the guy's wide open, and by the time the goalkeeper finds that guy 40 yards downfield, that player has 2 or 3 options of where to play next. Everybody knows where they're supposed to be, and it almost seems magical that a ball is played in a space, and that's where the guy's running. But it's not accidental. That's the way they play.
I do want to ask, a lot has been made from a U.S. soccer standpoint about what we need to do, academies, because Spain has arguably one of the best academies. It's funded privately, and they do an amazing job. It's basically, it is a corporation. It's a beer company, if I'm not mistaken, that funds their great academy. We obviously have big business in this country that could fund that. Is that the way? Is it sort of a private-public partnership that's needed to get the best players at a young age to stick with soccer? I mean, if you were put in charge of U.S. soccer, what would you want?
Well, I like that idea. I know that they paid Pochettino, the head coach, with outside money. And so if you can get that kind of outside money, which from what's been reported is something like $6 million, $6 million could go a long way towards funding some of our academies. So I think part of it is the investment. Part of it is adopting something and sticking with it so that you're not constantly changing. You don't want to give coaches more. France's head coach was the exception. Deschamps, he's been there, it seems like forever. But everyone says one cycle in many cases is enough for coaches, no more than two. That's really what you constantly hear, no more than 2 cycles. So your coach is not going to be the same forever. But your coach, if you've got the right guy, maybe his assistant takes over or somebody that's connected to him. And now it's more consistency in terms of style of play. I think we're seeing it on the women's side with Emma Hayes running the women's national team. She has been getting our under 23 players to come to the same camp as the senior team. So she's working very hard on coordinating all of the youth players in our country. I'm not sure how far she goes down in terms of the age, what she's looking at, but the ideal thing is, when you hear about Messi playing, people are talking about how old he was, when he started, and it wasn't a teenager. It's younger. So that's where we have to probably go next. And it's such a big country. That's what sometimes people forget about. They'll talk about how could Iceland get to a World Cup when they did, when the country is so small? Well, it's easier to scout players if your country is small. Our country is so vast. I don't think it's as easy as a job as maybe some people think. And maybe that's why it's taken so long. But again, remember that 8 teams have won a World Cup total. U.S. is not one of them, but neither are hundreds of other countries. And some of them, at the same level as the U.S. and some higher, like the Netherlands have been around forever with all kinds of success, both in Europe and in all these world tournaments. And the Dutch have never won it either.
What grade would you give looking back now as the tournament's over? To me, for the U.S. to have a successful tournament, they needed to win one more game than they did. They got right to where I thought they were going to get. I thought they needed, if they won 2 games in the knockout round, I thought it was a successful tournament for the U.S. So I just thought this is who we are. This is what we do. Looking back on it, what did you think of the U.S. performance?
I think if we could take out that last game, because that's what people are focusing on, I would have given them probably a B+. If we took out that last game. If they lost to Belgium in any other way, but the way in which they played it, B+, I would say, right? But everybody remembers that Belgium game, so the grade probably lessens, right? But they got as far as I thought they would go. I thought, even if they had a tough matchup in the round of 32, they could lose that one, right? But the fact that they won their group meant that they would have, let's call it a lesser opponent in that first one, which they did. But then as you go deeper, you're going to get somebody stronger, somebody more motivated, somebody that wants to knock off the host. So I think, Canada, Mexico, USA probably all did just what I expected. I would love to have seen them go to a quarterfinal. And I think that the people that are disappointed are ones that thought they were going to get there. I never think we're going to get to a quarterfinal because it's hard to get there and you don't know who you're playing before that. So if you could tell me who they're going to play before it, I'd probably make a better prediction, but you never know. It's the way you finish and then the matchup that follows. But I thought overall they did well on the field, except for that last game. And I think off the field, they captured our country for as long as they could. And I think that's one of the reasons why this World Cup was such a success with the television ratings, with the social media numbers. I haven't seen a rating yet. I'm not sure if it's out for the game yesterday.
No, it's not yet.
I'm sure it's massive. It's massive.
I think so too. There's no doubt. JP, thanks for being a friend of the show for a long time. We appreciate your knowledge. We appreciate your insight. You've taught me a thing or two during the breaks that'll help me when I cover this sport down the road. All the best to you. Thanks so much.
Anytime, Mark. Thanks for having me.
JP Dellacamera joining us on Miller and Moulton. We will switch gears and talk the Red Sox in about 25-minute time with Tim McKone from the Sports Hub in Boston. They are red hot. 13 in a row as they're now not just looking at the wild card, but is the division a possibility? And what moves can they make in the next 2 weeks? Miller and Moulton.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
You're right, Tim. Nobody has a number 2. We know just our number. I mean, hell, we do Pat Kerwin and our numbers go up on this show. Tim, I actually think they would go down. I don't know how you do football all summer. I mean, and and I love Pat's show, but when you listen to Pat and they know more about the NFL than I ever could want to know. There are times that, and I guess if we had the ability to take calls, it perhaps would be different, but it would be tough, Tim. It would. I'd be bored silly. Interesting question, Panda. I don't think so.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Just talk some World Cup, putting a bow on that with JP Dellacamera. Also his thoughts on not just how the U.S. did, but where they need to go from here. And I think he made some interesting points because it's not as easy as many think that it is. And I don't know how to fix it. I do know the academy thing works in other countries. Would it work here? I don't know. Like, again, football and basketball are going to be 1 and 2. They always are. That's very simple. But do we have enough good athletes to make soccer closer to 4? I mean, hockey's a niche sport that's now played nationwide, and we're getting great players, Austin Matthews, and, there's guys from Florida that have made it to the league. But by and large, it's a, Michigan, Minnesota, Northeast thing. So soccer, cheaper, even with the travel programs. It would be interesting to see where it could go. Baseball obviously still gets a lot of kids, and the span of our pro league is worldwide. So I'm curious to see if there are any changes. But I do want to move on. I threw a poll question up because the British Open, even though Ryan Fox won in great fashion, 1, he plays really fast. 2, he took about 4 seconds over that putt on 18 to make birdie, of which there were only 3 all day to win the tournament. But the story of the weekend was obviously the Bryson DeChambeau penalty. And there are a lot of you out there who do not like Bryson. I've heard from you. You've said it. You throw shots when you can. But Rory McIlroy is quickly becoming public enemy number 1 in the golf world, at least to U.S. golfers. So I ask a very simple question today. Who's more annoying, Bryson or Rory? That Mark Miller, Miller_Moulton on X. I'll repost it here momentarily. Right now, it's just on the Miller and Moulton page. But Rory has had an interesting couple of years. He was asked to be the mouthpiece for the tour when they were telling Liv to go pound sand. And he carried the badge for the tour for a while. And then, well, they let Brooks back. They opened the door for others and basically told Rory enough. And he told them enough. But Rory hasn't quit talking. I actually agree with what he said about the two tours. You know, the changes for the PGA Tour coming down the pike, that we're going to have two different tracks, whatever they're going to call them remains to be seen. The big boys are going to play on one, and the other guys are going to play on the other. I don't know what the rules are going to be because they don't know what the rules are going to be. But Rory came out and supported the R&A wholeheartedly with the penalty that was issued to Bryson. In fact, he said many players thought the same thing, although there's only been one that spoke about it for the most part, another European player. He also said in his comments that I'm not fond of Bryson. Scheffler didn't go as far as to say Bryson should have been penalized, but he did say that there are a lot of people or a lot of rules that he thinks are broken. He then went on to say that Bryson's under a microscope because all of his shots are being shown where other players are not. While I was texting with two people in the golf business while it was going on, they both thought it was ludicrous that it wasn't being, that he was being penalized. And we went for what seemed to be an hour of not knowing that there was going to be a penalty. I mean, that took forever. And people are then saying that Bryson was being a child because he was arguing. Now, apparently, as the story goes, Bryson was the one to get the R&A to go out and look at it again. And people were upset about their tee times. That, to me, is a joke. I mean, seriously, one guy, if he gets the two-stroke penalty, was going to affect somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 or 5 tee times, tops. They're 10 minutes apart. Guys know when they're going to play. They know when the tee times start. They know when they're end. If you're going to play at 11:20 versus 10:50, is it really that big of a deal? And that's the R&A. They could have just issued the penalty, put the tee times out, and been done with it. I don't think that's on Bryson. I thought it was using every letter of the law to penalize Bryson. Would I have called it a penalty? No. Do I understand why it was called a penalty? Anybody who's ever tried to put a tree branch over their shoulder in the woods to hack one out knows that maybe, us on a Thursday round may embellish that rule a little more than they can on Thursday through Sunday on tour. But the part of him walking behind the ball is every guy out there does it. They all take forever. I wish none of them would. I wish they'd line up and hit the damn thing. And I don't know, how much did it affect the weekend? I don't know. I really don't. He would have been one shot off of the lead. Would that have made a monster difference? Possibly. You still got to go make the shots, and he didn't make them on the weekend. So I don't look at the penalty and say it cost him the tournament. Not even close. I just simply say that it was a rule infraction to me that shouldn't have been called. But in a sport where honor is everything, everybody, the one thing Scheffler did say is that I've known Bryson a long time. He's a lot of things. He's not a cheater. Now, Bryson for a while was challenged by the golf fan because Bryson and some of the golf commentators before the whole live thing, Bryson tried to get a lot of rule. Bryson would bring a rule official out on this lie, that lie, trying to move his ball. There are plenty of instances out there. But the way these guys were in that fescue, they could have penalized a lot of players. A lot of players. So the fact that they picked him out for one thing seemed over the top to me. Was it? I don't know. But it ended up taking away from the tournament. And I don't think at the end of the day, that's what the RNA wants. I do think Ryan Fox's play on Sunday should be talked about more. Not just how quickly he gets over the ball and hits it, but to be able to finish when no one else seemingly could. I mean, the winds picked up on Sunday. You could see it. And Cam Young got in early. He was able to, for a moment, it looked like he was going to hold on to that lead. But no one else was able to make shots down the stretch. And Ryan Fox birdied 13, 14, turned around and made a bogey, and then birdied 16 and 18. Pretty impressive for your first ever major. Miller and Moulton, your thoughts. Pelican Roofing of Florida, text line 21,000. We've got a fun little poll question. Who's more annoying, Bryson or Rory, for all you golf fans? I'll repost it in a minute on that Mark Miller. It's already at Miller_Moulton on X. Tim McKone to talk some Red Sox coming up next. They've won 13 in a row and now a big series with Baltimore starting today.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I'll get better at them, CBW, one day. I got to start thinking about them the day before. When I come on the air, I'm not thinking about poll questions. If I don't have it before the show starts, my mind isn't thinking about what's a good poll question. It's just I'm thinking about what my next sentence is going to be, unfortunately. I'm not that good. And it looks like you guys could be dealing with just me for a while, so we'll figure out what the hell's going on here.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Good, bad, and ugly an hour from now. Text line open at 21,000. Your comments, whether it's on Rory and Bryson, which is our poll question today, who's more annoying? Depends on the week, but right now, Rory winning. But we will switch gears and talk a little Boston Red Sox, the hottest team in baseball. Tim McKone joins us from the Sports Hub in Boston. You can follow Tim on X at Tim_McKone, McKone. Tim, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. This is not a phone call I was expecting to have with you guys just a couple weeks ago, that's for sure, but doing well.
Holy crap. I mean, 2.5 weeks ago, the Red Sox were sellers. I mean, it was obvious. And now 13 in a row. And I said it earlier, it's one thing. They're a playoff team right now. I don't think they can just say they're not a shot at the division. We've watched The AL Central teams come from double digits the last 2 years. With the way the Rays have been playing lately, the Yankees aren't healthy, and we don't know when they're going to be. When you look at the Red Sox, just how much of a shock are the last 2 weeks, or are they playing back to the mean finally? And I don't mean the 13 in a row, but I mean being a couple games above 500.
I think everyone in Boston, even some players, quite honestly, are a little stunned at what's taken place. Just a couple weeks ago, like you mentioned, Sonny Gray doing an interview post game talking about how he would be open. He has a no trade clause, but he would be open to listening because right now they're just not a very good team. And you fire your manager so early in the season like they did with Alex Cora. And honestly, we've been taking phone calls up until about 2 weeks ago about whether or not Craig Breslow, the CBO of the Boston Red Sox, would be around by the trade deadline or not. And now you go from whether or not he's actually going to be running the trade deadline to all of a sudden, not only is he going to be there, but potentially, and I think more than likely, certainly buying at the deadline. It's hard to wrap your head around. The pitching all year has been really strong for the Boston Red Sox, and that's been something they've been able to lean on really from the start of the season. Offensively, they've been a disaster. And still, if they're going to add at the deadline, I think that's the direction they're going to go to. But, the offense has come around here over the last few weeks, and all of a sudden, it's a team, like you said, is the hottest in baseball. And, you go from a dead to all of a sudden a playoff team in 2.5 weeks. It's remarkable.
And you're right. Offensively, when you look at the total run production for the season, it's not great. But run differential is something that on this show we pay attention to. It kind of, to me, separates pretenders from contenders. They're one of the best run differential teams in baseball. I think they're second in the American League, only behind the Yankees right now. So obviously, as you mentioned, the pitching's been terrific. So if they add a bat, is there one spot that you think needs to happen at? I mean, Contreras has been a little bit better lately, so some guys are getting hot. Where do they need to add the bat?
You know what? I it's sort of their situation and Roman Anthony eventually making his way back in the lineup. I think from an outfield perspective, you're going to have maybe a couple decisions that you have to make, but Abreu, Anthony, and Cedar Rafael really have kind of established himself with Jarren Duran. So I think you're probably looking at an infield bat right now. But beggars can't be choosers at this point. And you brought up a really interesting point with the run differential. And if there was one thing that you could kind of point to, and trust me, Craig Breslow is just fighting for his job there for a while, was pointing to it. But when they were 14 games below 500 at one point, you looked at run differential, and they were still 5th in the AL in run differential and one of 5 teams that had a positive run differential. So that was the one thing you could kind of hang your hat on and say, I know it looks really bad, but kind of under the hood here, there might be something. And sure enough, now over the last 2.5 weeks, it's taken off. But no question about it, as hot as they've been, if you look at them really making a deep run in the playoffs, Wilson Contreras, like you mentioned, has certainly been an impact bat from the start of the season. Other than that, you've gotten a couple guys that have gotten hot here of late, but you'd really love to add a consistent bat that you could rely on at the deadline.
There's a guy that I think the Rays still should be going after because they also struggle to hit the ball and score runs. They just need guys on base. Luis Arraez is a name that's been out there as someone that you could acquire. To me, that's another guy for the Red Sox because the Red Sox have a couple of guys. Contreras and Abreu can hit home runs. I mean, they probably could use a power stick as well. But a guy like Arraez just getting on base and turning whether it's at the beginning of the lineup or at the back end of the lineup to turn it over, he seems like a guy that could be helpful that you could get right now. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And what's interesting, too, the style of play is another thing that's sort of changed the Boston Red Sox here over the last month. And they've kind of taken a page out of the Rays playbook here and not just relying on the 2-run, 3-run home run, which is what they were doing at the start of the season. The only problem is they don't really have anybody that can hit a 2-run or 3-run home run in the lineup, right? And so if you don't have that, and that's what you're relying on, the results are not great. And so they've kind of gone to small ball manufacturing runs. And so I think there's been a sort of an adjustment in terms of what the front office is relying on, especially with this season. They're starting to actually play to the players that they have, which I think has been a difference. And so I think they're more flexible than what they have been in the past in terms of the type of player that they're looking for when it comes to this lineup as well.
And Durbin's been hot in July. That's got to continue, right?
Has to. And he was terrible at the plate at the start of the season. And obviously losing Alex Bregman was a huge talking point here at the start of the year as well for the Boston Red Sox. He's been solid defensively at third since the start of the year. Really good defensive player. But he was atrocious at the start of the year. He's really come around. And the funny thing is, and certainly we hear it all the time too, you look at sort of the comparables in terms of the offensive stats between Alex Bregman and Durbin. He's gotten hot here of late, and all of a sudden, they look like essentially the same player, except Durbin's making a lot less money.
And Sonny Gray 12-1. How the hell did that happen?
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable the type of production that they've gotten from really their whole starting rotation outside of Brian Bayo at the start of the year. Everyone's delivered. You know, if there's one sort of blinking red light or check engine light that you might point to for the Red Sox right now, it might be the reliance on guys like Peyton Tolley, Conley Early, who's making his way back from injury right now. They've logged a ton of innings, and they've relied so heavily on the rotation at the start of the year. Can those guys keep it up is one thing that you're going to have to sort of monitor here from a Red Sox perspective in the second half of the season. But Sonny Gray is everything you wanted and more. I thought it was a joke that he wasn't on the All-Star team because certainly he's deserved it.
All right. This is such a wild baseball season to me because we really looked at this on Friday, and I don't think it changed this morning. There are 7 teams that we say are out of it. 4 in the NL, 3 in the AL that are out. Everybody else has a legitimate claim, and obviously I think this is a huge series for the Red Sox this week in Baltimore to start the week, because if the Red Sox are to keep on keeping on, maybe Baltimore becomes a seller. But this seems like an old-fashioned trade deadline, Tim, in that you're going to have to give something good to get something good. Do the Red Sox have players that you think, everyday players that, okay, do they have a pitcher they could move for a bat? You know what I'm getting at here, because I don't think with how many teams are in it, you can just say, I'm going to give you 3 prospects or 2 prospects. I think you're going to have to give something. Do the Red Sox have things to give?
No question. It's a great point about sort of the prices at the deadline because there are so few sellers. And it's one thing that a lot of Red Sox fans were talking about just a few weeks ago. They wanted Craig Breslow to act fast and move some of these pieces, Aroldis Chapman, because they thought the return was going to be so great. And now that they've sort of flipped the script, especially coming off of this series this weekend, when now you can kind of point to it and say, all right, they're going to have to add at the deadline here. You're going to be firmly in the mix. They do. They do have a lot. They have some pitching prospects. I would not expect a guy like a Peyton Tolley or a Conley Early to get moved at this point. I think they've established themselves so much at the major league level, but they certainly have depth in the minor league level in terms of the pitching. And it's one thing, and trust me, Craig Breslow has heard a lot of complaints about the performance that he has had over the last few months. But the one thing that you can point to is the guy knows pitching. And the guy has really stocked the farm system in terms of pitching. So they certainly have some assets at the minor league level from a pitching perspective that I think they would willing to give up. And I also think it's interesting to keep an eye on a guy like a Marcelo Meyer, who has come up, was the number 4 pick in the draft just a few years ago, huge prospect. He's been in the majors about a season now, has not lived up to it. There's some off-the-field concerns in terms of just how serious does he take the game of baseball. That's kind of been a talking point over the last few weeks in Boston. And he was certainly in trade rumors this past offseason. I'd be interesting to see if they float him out. If they do, how big of a return do you get on him? Because his star is certainly dimmed a little bit. That's a different conversation. But I think that's another guy to keep an eye on in terms of a piece that they would be willing to give up at the deadline.
Is it just a scheduling thing, or you mentioned they don't rely on the home run? There's 6 games. I mean, they just won 4 straight at home against the Rays. I don't know how many of the 13 were at home. There's still 6 games below 500 at Fenway. Is this a scheduling quirk? Off to the bad start. I mean, it seems like the one great home field advantage left in sports, and they lose more than they win at home. How?
It's unbelievable. Like you mentioned, they were coming into this race series. There were 10 games below 500 at Fenway, and that's a place where they used to feast. One of the issues, and one of the things that we kind of pointed to, though, was did not necessarily build this lineup for a team that could take advantage of the park. again, they've kind of shifted the way that they play offensively over the last month here. They're manufacturing a lot more runs than they did in the past, and that's sort of made a difference. So it's going to be easy to kind of point to that home record and say, what the hell's going on? Because you're right. They absolutely have not lived up to it. And I think that the schedule leading into the All-Star break, they played a lot of cupcakes. Granted, they did what they were supposed to do against it. This Rays series over the last weekend, I think, has really infused some excitement with this fan base, because that you can point to that not only at home but against a good Tampa Bay team and say, wait a second, is this team really turning the corner? And there's a feeling, I think, in Boston right now that, you know what, we actually are going to have a baseball season, which I did not expect to be saying again just a few weeks ago.
No doubt. And a couple of blowouts, but they came back in a couple of games too and showed some resolve in sweeping this 4-gamer from Tampa. Timing probably couldn't be any better. I mean, did Jaylen Brown and, Vrabel's been on the back page for most of us for a while. I don't know about there, but between Jaylen Brown and camp opening up next week, the Red Sox stole the front page again, didn't they?
You know what? You're right. There's no one happier than Brad Stevens that the Red Sox have gone on this win streak over the last couple of weeks. That's for sure.
All right, Tim, I'll give you the final crack at this. We're way before football season, but I have said this for a while. I am picking the New England Patriots to miss the playoffs. If I'm right, it's because of the schedule last year, but did they do enough in the offseason to maintain? I don't care about winning the division. Buffalo's still really good. Are they a wild card team or better in your estimation right now?
So on paper, the answer to that question is yes. And they've surrounded Drake May with more offensive talent, certainly at the wide receiver position. And they've attacked the offensive line and trying to improve that. The key is going to be the health on the offensive line. Elijah Vera Tucker, a huge offseason pickup, has not typically been able to stay healthy. If he can, he's a really good player. And they've spent 2 first-round picks back-to-back years here on offensive tackles. Can those guys produce? If they can, I really do like their chances. If they can't keep Drake May upright, if they can't keep him healthy throughout the season, it's going to be difficult. So we'll see sort of, what this offensive line looks like in camp. I think we'll get a better feel for it at that point. If the offensive line can live up to the expectations that certainly this franchise has put on him, I think Drake May is poised to have a monster year.
And if he does, I will be wrong. I think they're somewhere right around 9-10 wins. 9 probably not good enough. 10 is good enough. The good news is they play in a division with the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. He's Tim McKone, 98.5, the Sports Hub in Boston, joining us here on Miller and Moulton. Tim, thanks. Be well, and we'll talk to you during camp, I'm sure.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Tim McKone, 98.5, the Sports Hub in Boston, checking in. The Red Sox back on the front page. Holy Toledo. Did not see that coming at all. 13 in a row. Now they have a series against Baltimore as they get in Baltimore in an interesting spot because Baltimore has now won 7 in a row. So that series, big for both teams. I think if Boston takes 2 or 3, it could turn the Orioles into more sellers than they want to be. They may be anyhow. But it's amazing. Both Baltimore and Boston look like teams that were for sure sellers. Boston 2 weeks ago, Baltimore maybe a week ago. You string together all these victories, and now front offices are thinking about the postseason instead of next season. But, when you listen to Tim talk there, he's got pitchers he doesn't want to give up. So if you're going to make that trade, who is it you're going to give? And they need a bat. I do think, for the Giants, for the Athletics, if the Nats turn out to be sellers, although I don't know if they should be, they need pitching, by the way. I mean, they've got so many bats. They could, there's someone that could talk to Boston right there. They could trade power for power and get better. So you're going to have to give something up in order to improve your team. But, the Giants, to me, the price for guys, that's gone up. The Athletic, they've got bats. That price has gone up as well. The Pro Hour is next in Jacksonville and Tampa. For the rest of you, we'll do it again tomorrow morning. Enjoy the rest of your day. Miller and Moulton, Hour 4 is next.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Buying or selling a home? Put a local expert to work for you. I'm Mark Miller, and I believe real estate is about more than transactions. It's about helping people make the right move. From pricing your home to negotiating the best deal, I'll be with you every step of the way. Call or text me today, 239-425-5582. That's 239-425-5582. Experience, local knowledge, and the best personal service. That's the difference.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, Yeah, it did. Yes, Pablo. He's not feeling well. Excuse me shoveling eggs down, but they're better when they're warm. Oh, Sonny, they all come back. Don't kid yourself. You're a Tigers fan. If they win 13 in a row, you're back too. And Sonny, I'm the same way. I say they should be sellers. They win 13 in a row. I'll be like, buy, buy, buy.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, the final hour, the pro hour, as I like to call it. David started the show with me, for those of you that are asking, and it was pretty obvious that David was in a hell of a lot of pain today. And I told him a little way through the show that you need to take care of yourself. And I guess right before the 8 o'clock hour, I said to David, get some rest. You need to finish the show. And David is a little under the weather today. I think for those of you that don't know, I don't know how you couldn't at this point, but I spent 3 months up in Tampa because of leukemia. Things are going well for me. David had cancer several years ago. His cancer is back, and he's in a great deal of pain. I really have nothing more to share than what he's already shared on the show, which is he's fighting it and fighting it hard as he can. But today, not a good day. So don't know what we're going to do tomorrow at this point, but we'll figure something out. And we'll go from there. We'll try to keep on as best we can. It would be, I'm hopeful that David can come back at some point this week, because we marked 20 years together later this week. And I'm hoping like hell he can do the shows at least this week so we can get to that mark. It's something that would be a hell of an accomplishment for the two of us with everything that we've gone through, both personally and professionally. So that's out there. And obviously, when David can update you, he will. I leave most of that to him because, well, it's his life. I threw a poll question up there because the British Open was largely overshadowed by the remarkable play by Fox yesterday, I should say, was overshadowed by the Bryson DeChambeau 2-shot penalty on Friday. And that led to the weekend. It led to Rory McIlroy throwing Bryson under the bus as well as he could. And I ask a simple question today. Who's more annoying, Bryson or Rory? Early votes in the chat room have been all Rory. Online, a little closer. 60% say Rory, 40% say Bryson. And the one thing about the tournament that I'm left with more than anything with Ryan Fox is just how quickly he played. I mean, Colin Montgomery, and I should have pulled it up. I got a little caught up during the break to get the audio. But Colin Montgomery talked at length in an interview he did yesterday and said the biggest problem with golf today, and I don't think this is amateur golf, although it may be, you guys can tell me, is slow play. It drives me nuts. As someone who plays 2 or 3 times a week, when it's slow out there, particularly this time of year in Florida when we can race around the course and it's also just hot as all get up, is that there's no real reason for the game to take that long. But yesterday in twosomes, it took 5.5 plus for these guys to play 18 holes. What Monty pointed out, at the same golf course in 1971, when Trevino won, they played in threesomes. And they did it in under 4 hours. And he made a few points, and he started talking about the aim point method. For those of you that don't know, it's this way they line up their putts. It takes forever. I don't know. I mean, some guys swear by it. I don't know. It's a little bizarre to me. The problem is that when pros do it, amateurs think they need to. And I'll just talk from my own personal experience. In the group I play in, I'm one of the worst players. You can ask anybody. I'm far and away one of the fastest players too. But there are some good players that I play with. I mean, low single-digit handicappers, 2, 3, 4 handy, good players. Some of them don't take any time at all. Others, it's a slow train moving. And most of them don't think they're the problem. And I think that's the same thing on tour. I think if you asked most of these tour players, do they play fast, slow, or right on pace? I think they'd all say, or not all, I think the majority would say, oh, I play pretty quickly. It's the other guy. And I don't know, one of the things that to me is an interesting part of this is, are the networks hurt by this, or do they benefit from it? We'll wait and see what the British Open TV numbers were. Golf TV numbers are like every other sport right now. Numbers are great. Numbers are terrific. More people are watching sports on television than ever before. So I don't know if a long round of golf hurts the television audience. We seem to be glued to this stuff no matter what it is. For the longest time, it was David, myself, I think Chris Fowler, and there's one college writer that we have on that agreed with us, and his name escapes me. I don't want to credit the wrong guy. But for whatever reason, for years, Miller and Moulton have been on the college football takes too long. And none of you seem to be bothered by that. Like, for the most part, you as a college football audience are perfectly fine with a 4-hour college football game. More football. I don't care how long it takes. It's why, if I'm going to go to a game, believe it or not, I always would rather go on a Saturday than a Sunday because of the whole day. If I'm doing a college football game, it's get there early. It's the tailgate. It's stay late for a little bit of the tailgate if it's not dark out or too cold. That's the Michigander coming through in me. That's why noon games up north are much better. You got a little time in the parking lot to have a couple before the sober person drives you home. But the pro football game, what I'm watching on Sunday, I know I can get both games in. I know that first game's going to end before the second one starts. So I don't know, Monte says it's a problem. It's a problem for those of us that are playing on a Saturday. We don't want to be out there for 4.5 hours. We don't want to be out there for 4. But I don't know if the PGA Tour thinks it's a problem. I don't know if their network partners think it's a problem, because the longer the tournament goes, the closer that it is, typically more people watch. So I don't know per se if golf really thinks they have a problem. The networks had a problem with college football. When one game's bleeding over into the next game, that's a problem. When you're not getting to your game until late first quarter, that's a problem. Fox has done it right. They put them in 4-hour windows. ESPN gets caught all the time trying to shove games in that 3.5-hour window. So the networks have pointed out there's a problem, and they've made some rule changes to try to pick up the pace of the games. But it's not fixed yet. And trust me, the networks, with what they spend for the NFL, that's why that game starts, what is it, 101 they kick every time. And that sucker's over with unless they go to overtime by 4:05 every time. So I don't know. And certainly, the 4:25 window never gets interrupted. So I don't know if the PGA Tour thinks that they have a problem. But man, oh man, was it fun. Ryan Fox took that putt and the announcers weren't ready for it. Hell, I wasn't ready. I had stuff going on. I was doing my thing in the kitchen, and I'm like, I figured I had 30 seconds before he putted the ball. I'm like, oh, he's going to hit this. Because, I like Bryson. I'm one of the few people out there that I was rooting for him. He takes a long time over a putt. He gets that whole left arm locked, and he seemingly is over the ball forever. So it drives me nuts as a golf fan, and it may drive you nuts in the moment, but as a collective group of fans, the longer these things go, the more whatever it is, overtime in hockey, late in a football game, late in a baseball game, the close game, the drama brings more people in. My guess is when we get the TV numbers for the World Cup game yesterday, it will peak during extra time. So I believe that while we as fans can sometimes point out these problems, the longer games go, particularly when they're competitive, the more people watch. So yesterday's British Open, my guess is, even though they took 5.5 hours and it wasn't that riveting down the stretch, it was at the end for Fox. The last 3 holes were fantastic. I mean, Cam Young posted that score early. And he bogeyed 18. If not, we would have had a playoff. But I think all of us were thinking maybe playoff, maybe Young wins it outright. And then Fox birdied 2 of his last 3 to come home with the claret jug and become the second New Zealander to win a major. Bob Charles in 63 was the first lefty to win a major and the first from New Zealand to win a major. Ryan Fox did it yesterday, and taking down a couple of big names. Sam Burns thought it was his day. Cam Young tried to make it his day, played excellent golf, but bogeyed 18, and that shot cost him dearly. DeChambeau had nothing. Scheffler made a run with a very fortunate ruling. Hit your ball 40 yards left and an immovable object. You don't even have to find it anymore. That's crazy to me, but whatever. Ryan Fox, your winner. And Scotty Scheffler, look at his finishes in the majors, and he's going to be looked at as having a bad year. That's crazy. Miller and Moulton. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when, and what's on tap is how we will finish the show. We'll figure something out to talk about next. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton. Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. David a little under the weather. He started the show. He couldn't finish the show. So I'm here with you solo. Don't know what we're doing tomorrow just yet. We'll figure it out. Kind of on the fly. Changing on the fly is what we do. Big news out of Ann Arbor. Well, I don't know if it's big. News out of Ann Arbor. Michigan athletic director, he's out. Ward Manuel will step down at the end of the calendar year. So he's got, 5 months left to serve as the athletic director at the University of Michigan. He is done after that. They will begin their search for a new athletic director. However, he is stepping down. He's not fired, which means he's getting paid. There is basically a cliff notes of the investigation. I will start with the thing I find most interesting, because the independent law firm Jenner and Block did an investigation that cost $12 million. They did 350 interviews of 300 witnesses. They reviewed more than 20,000 documents. Apparently, they examined leadership, accountability, organizational structure, reporting, investigations, compliance, oversight, and student-athlete support. Now, there's part of this that I find laughable, and I'll start with that. Because, after all, the University of Michigan is a public institution. Therefore, the Freedom of Information Act in the state of Michigan applies to this report, but it's not being released publicly. And when asked why, Michigan says the following: maintaining the confidentiality of the investigation protects the privacy of the members of our community who participated, promotes the willingness of witnesses to participate in any future investigations by allaying concerns relating to the risk of privacy of retaliation, preserves investigative integrity, and protects the attorney-client privilege that covers the investigation. When asked, and this is their own outline, how can the public understand the outcome of the investigation and the culture review if a report is not being released? They say the following: the university is sharing principal facts, recommendations, and actions being taken in response to the investigation and culture review. The university is providing important information to the community while also protecting the privacy interests of those who participated in the investigation and culture review. This frequently asked questions and accompanying materials are intended to provide transparency while respecting legal obligations, employee privacy, and the integrity of the investigative process. I don't know how you have the integrity of the investigating process if you're not releasing it. One answer on Sharon Moore: what did the culture conclude regarding athletic director Ward Manuel? The cultural review found that Ward Manuel demonstrated important leadership strengths, particularly his commitment to student athletes. At the same time, it identified failures to quickly and effectively act on allegations of wrongdoing by athletic department employees. Also, it said, did the investigation or cultural review find that misconduct was widespread throughout Michigan athletics? Simple answer, they say no. Neither the investigation or the cultural review have found that misconduct was widespread throughout the department. The review found that weaknesses in accountability, organizational structure, oversight, and reporting created conditions in which misconduct was not always addressed consistently, promptly, or in accordance with university expectations. So, in a nutshell, Michigan's not releasing this. You're not going to hear what the investigations talked about. You're getting their cliff notes. That's all they're going to give you. They put this out literally as Greg Sankey is speaking at SEC Media Days. Love the timing. Nice shot. What does this end up telling us? Not a damn thing. Because while the end game with the Sharon Moore affair and him trying to get into an apartment and the knives and all that stuff, it's gross, it's sick, I get it. Sharon Moore cheating on his wife with a university employee is obviously a fireable offense. We get that. I'm not even, but as far as a football coach having an affair, I don't care. With an employee, obviously giving that employee a raise, there's all kinds of wrongdoing. I still don't care. That in and of itself isn't enough for an athletic director to have to step down. The fact that there's been 24 different, whether it's show cause or whatever the case may be, from the Michigan Athletic Department of the things that have gone on there, to me is more concerning. And the fact that Michigan has simply turned the other cheek on this is fascinating. Anybody who listens to this show knows I went to one of their rivals. Ohio State's really their rival. We think Michigan's our rival because I'm a Michigan State grad. And obviously, my alma mater had its own problems. So I'm well aware. But the lawsuit that the former assistant coach has filed against Michigan, its president, the Big Ten president, about the cheating is what I'd like to know. I don't give a damn about the Sharon Moore story. I want to know what they knew about Connor Stallions. I want to know when they knew it. I want to know what they did about it. Because it certainly seems that they like to cover things up and that they're not being very transparent. And I believe it's the worst cheating allegations that have ever been discussed when it comes to a college. Is anything going to change with their natty, Big Ten title? No, it's not. But if they're not releasing this stuff, what else aren't they releasing? They've had a problem, I believe, with women's gymnastics. I know they've had one with hockey, and they had one with basketball before Dusty May got there. So how is it not a culture in the athletic department? How did Manuel, in their estimations, do a good job with leadership? He hired all these people, at least the head coaches. So a cover-up in college sports, shocking. I'm stunned. But I am surprised in the fact that $12 million was spent. And if I'm a Michigan alumni, I want to know where my money went. I don't want footnotes. I guess winning supersedes all of that, and they won't care at the end of the day. But I honestly believed Michigan stood for a little more than that. I really did. If you've listened to me for the last 20 years, as much as I don't like them to win, I've always respected the institution immensely. And I've lost some today. I'm not surprised. I'm truly not. And I know they'll defend it, and their alumni will defend it, and it's all okay. It's a terrible look. And you didn't fire your athletic director. He's stepping down. You're paying him damn near $10 million a year. Wonder what that buyout is. I don't think he's settling for anything less than all of it. That'll come out in the wash too. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when and what's on tap. To finish off a Monday. Thanks for listening.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, your thoughts. Pelican Roofing of Florida, text line 21,000. I'll repost it in a minute on that Mark Miller. It's all to talk some. Coming up next. Today.
The Cape Coral
World Cup, putting a bow on. Oh, as they're now
with the 10,000. The Cape Coral.
Believe it or not, dead stroke, I got it done. And then we got rained out. I didn't play Friday or Saturday, which really sucked because I wanted to play both days. But I was doing it on the practice tee. I got the hour done, started saving it, and the siren went off, and I went home. It was a good cobbler. And Red Dog, they can't because there's no report. That's the thing. They did this orally, apparently, to get out of that. But I'm going to try to get Amanda Kristovich on tomorrow. She's into this as well. By the way, made andouille sausage over the weekend. It was a winner. Made gumbo with it yesterday. Red beans and rice probably this weekend with the rest of it.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. David had to leave the show a little early today, as many of you know. David's sick. There's just no two ways about it. You can hear it in his voice. He talked about it a few weeks back when he missed 2 weeks. His cancer is back. He is fighting like a son of a bitch. And for the moment, we'll see what tomorrow brings. That's all I can tell you. I will definitely be on the air tomorrow. I'll be on the air the rest of the week. I'll be on the air as long as I can be, for that matter. And we just hope David's back sooner than later.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1965, Dylan and Columbia Records released Like a Rolling Stone. This little thing happened today in 1969. Apollo 11 lands on the surface of the moon. Neil Armstrong would be the first person to step on the moon. You know, one small step for man. Springsteen and the E Street Band kick off the Born to Run tour today in 75 in Providence, Rhode Island. Stevie Van Zandt debuts as a full-fledged member of the group on the tour. Hammer and Hank hit his final home run today in 1976. Did it against the Angels off pitcher Dick Drago. I knew a guy named Drago once. I don't think I want to get into that story on the air. 1980, Watson wins his third of 5 claret jugs at Murfield, beating Trevino by 4. Today in 1981, Journey released their album Escape. Open Arms was the highest charting song, but Don't Stop Believing's the one you're still hearing today. Today in 86, Greg Norman wins his first major. Did so at Turnberry. He was even for the tournament and won by 5. At Royal Birkdale today in 2008, Padraig Harrington goes back-to-back. He was 4 under on his final 9 to beat Ian Poulter by 4. Royal Liverpool today in 2014, Rory goes wire-to-wire, beating Sergio and Ricky Fowler by 2. And a year ago, Scotty won his 4th major with a 4-shot win over Harris English. Alexander the Great. I've just got Birdcage in my head right now, and if you don't know the scene, I'm sorry. If you do and you're not laughing, then there's something wrong with you. Piston and Red Wing owner Mike Ilitch. Piston coach. Tiger and Red Wing owner Mike Ilitch. Piston coach Chuck Daly. Actress Natalie Wood. John Lodge from the Moody Blues. He actually made Naples his home in the latter part of his career. Know his son very well. Son's a great guy. Didn't know the dad. And Chris Cornell would have all celebrated birthdays today. Pretty damn good list right there. Tony Oliva's 86. Carlos Santana is 79. He was just in Southwest Florida recently, still rocking. Stone Gossard, guitarist for Pearl Jam. He's 61. Former Bucky and Beckles is 59. Peter Forsberg, 53. Benji Molina is 52. Giselle is 46. 46. And Ben Simmons is 30. You know, I love David here to interject things. This is the one thing, and, you know, I don't know if I'll work with Trent tomorrow if David's going to be back. I love doing this with Trent to see actually who he knows. He might have known more on this list than he usually does. Whoa, that's the wrong one. That's the right one. I'm the one hitting the buttons. I don't even know what buttons to hit.
A little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Well, we live in Florida. And in Florida, we have HOAs. And, well, who doesn't have a fight occasionally with their HOA? But let's give it up to this particular HOA. And unfortunately, I don't have the state or the neighborhood, and I apologize for that. But a homeowner had an expansive backyard vegetable garden. And sure enough, a neighbor turned him in. He considered the garden to be farming activity that did not belong in the residential neighborhood. Harold's the guy who made the complaint. He argued that a growing number of beds have gone beyond what should be expected at a private home and made the yard look like a small farm rather than a backyard. Well, Jason was the homeowner, and there was an HOA meeting. Jason informed the HOA at the meeting that he takes the produce that he harvests and gives it to elderly neighbors. Of course, he doesn't charge them anything for it. He's just trying to help out. At that moment, the board decided the garden complied with the community rules and threw out the complaint. Good job, HOA. You guys get a bad rap for a lot of crap. Not in this case. For the bad, we go to my backyard, Fort Myers, where a Fort Myers couple is mourning the loss of their pet bunny, Arlo. Arlo apparently was doing his daily exercise on their lanai when a bear apparently, wait for it, went bare. The owner of the home, Fabio Yespes, was home when the acclaimed attack happened. The whole time I was sitting there. Then I heard a very loud noise. I thought to myself, it's not safe, he said. A neighbor captured a photo of a bear behind houses. The couple believes it might be the same bear from the attack in late June. Fabio claims the whole neighborhood's afraid. The bear, for the record, has not attacked any people. FWC set up a trap. They've not caught the bear. Hey, boo-boo. And wait for it. You know, we keep moving homes further and farther out into the wilderness. And these animals that are creatures of Florida, and a bear attacked, wait for it, a bunny. You're kidding, right? If you are, I shouldn't say dumb enough, because my brother-in-law and sister-in-law have a pet bunny for their daughter. I don't know what the bunny provides anybody. But if you are going to have a bunny for a pet, hell, or a small dog or a cat, maybe keep them inside if bears are around. Just a thought. Finally, the ugly. We go to Charlotte County, where John Mettello works at the South Cove Lock. And apparently on Sunday, while he was working, a disagreement over who was first at the lock to get through turned into a fight. A boater became upset that he was told to wait while a sailboat passed through the lock first. The man charged up to the lock operator and pushed Mettello. He then returned to his vessel and accelerated into the lock, hitting the boat and throwing his wife overboard. Apparently, they took off before FWC showed up because it is all under investigation. They have photos of the man and his vehicle and his, I guess, vessel, I should say. And we'll see what happens because I would love to give you a follow-up. And that, my friends, is the good, the bad, and the ugly. On the 20th of July, here on Miller and Moulton, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, offering great jobs, great pay, overtime. Other jobs are available. For all info, capecops.com. That's capecops.com. The Rays are north of the border trying to fix their schneid. Martinez on the bump, 7 o'clock start as they take on Cease, who started in the All-Star game for the Jays. Couple of solid pitchers. Cease 6-4, but a 2.56 earned run average against the 2.65 for Martinez. Marlins are in Houston, both teams reeling a little bit right now as Houston was just swept. The Marlins have lost 6 straight. So a big series for both Florida teams going on right now. The Twins taking on Cleveland. Twins trying to get themselves above 500. Opportunity against a team in their division. The Pirates visit the Yankees. 2 more teams trying to fight into the playoffs. We've mentioned it several times today because we did talk some Red Sox. Orioles and Sox tonight. Dodgers went from playing the Yankees. They're at the Phillies for another big series for both Padres and Atlanta to take on the Braves. Giants and Royals in a meaningless series. Mets are at the Brewers. Mizorowski on the bump for the Brew Crew. White Sox and Rangers. Tigers and Cubs at Wrigley. Nats and Rockies. Mariners hosting Cincinnati. The Diamondbacks hosting the Athletics. And the Angels are hosting the Cardinals. There are 4 WNBA games on for those of you that care. I have to be honest with you. We'll play a little game for you. All right. I'm going to give you the nickname because that's how they're listed. You try to play what cities they are. Aces at the Tempo. That's Las Vegas and Toronto. Liberty at the Wings. You all know Liberty's New York if you follow sports at all. The Wings are Dallas. The Lynx are at the Storm. That's the Minnesota Lynx and the Seattle Storm. And finally, the Mystics at the Valkyries. That's Golden State and Washington Mystics. So there you go. Hope you had fun playing at home. Michigan AD is out at the end of the year. Manual, the cliff notes of the $12 million investigation have been published by the University of Michigan. We'll see if anything else comes from this, as well as the lawsuit that one of the assistant coaches filed against damn near everybody there. But a lot of show cause in the Michigan Athletic Department, a lot of firings. But Ward Manuel, the athletic director, his leadership didn't need to be questioned. He was not fired. He is stepping down at the end of the year. What does that mean? It means he's getting paid pretty much everything he's owed because he had, I think, 3 years left on his deal. So, and it's big dough. So that to me is the kicker there. After the first weekend series in baseball, a lot of, I mentioned some of those series to me. I follow the Tigers and Cubs is big. Red Sox and Orioles, huge. Dodgers and Phillies, a big one for the Phillies. As they're trying to catch the Braves, they're 3 back of Atlanta. So a lot can happen in the next 2 weeks. We've just watched it with the Boston Red Sox. 13 in a row as they go to Baltimore to take on the Orioles for that series, which all games starting tonight. Orioles and Red Sox, that's a 7-10 start. So I'll be interested to see there, as well as the Dodgers and Phillies. Both intrigue me. Rays north of the border taking on the Blue Jays. If the Rays can get their act together here, the Blue Jays are interesting to me because there's a lot of players there I think teams would want. If they go for a 10-day or, these next 2 weeks, 13 games, 12 games, if they're a 5-7 team, does that make them a seller? That's a team, if you're looking for bats, that's a team I'd be interested in. But we'll see if I'm a general manager, and David and I have talked about this for a while, I'm making a move now. I'm not waiting 2 weeks. I'm after the Giants now to get a rise if I'm the Rays. Same thing for Boston. I think his price went up by waiting the 2 weeks to allow Boston back into this race. How much more did the price of certain players go up that may be valuable to multiple teams? We shall see. NFL training camps opening this week. They'll all be open by the early part of next week. So we'll start talking a little more football on the show. I know that makes the majority of you very, very happy. Hopefully David's back tomorrow. If not, I'll try to give you an update. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Thanks for listening.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Buying or selling a home? Put a local expert to work for you. I'm Mark Miller, and I believe real estate is about more than transactions. It's about helping people make the right move. From pricing your home to negotiating the best deal, I'll be with you every step of the way. Call or text me today, 239-425-5582. That's 239-425-5582. Experience, local knowledge, and the best personal service. That's the difference.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton